I am the Namer, guardian of the names of power. Before your world even existed, my people were an ancient race. Now they are gone, and only I remain, keeper of my people's history. Across the endless tracts of space have I traveled, to return to the planet of my birth, Zoidstar. Though my people perished long ago, and their cities were buried by the shifting sands, the machines remain. It is these that have brought me here to perform the last act of the Zoidarian race, the giving of the names of power. When my race was young and had an interest in the affairs of the galaxy, they built the machines, mighty engines of destruction which gave the power of life and death over the other creatures in the galaxy. The Zoidarians turned their gaze outward and laid waste to 1,000 star systems with their machines, their Zoids. But ruling a galaxy was not enough for the Zoidarians. It was not the conquests, but the battles they enjoyed. And though all intelligent life trembled in the shadow of the Zoids, my people battled on, machine against machine, Zoidarian against Zoidarian, in the further pursuit of glory. Zoidarian lives were needlessly sacrificed to the god of battle, and the race dwindled in numbers until the elders outlawed the Zoid duels. But they couldn't outlaw the Zoidarian love of combat. The Zoidarian pilots of the giant war machines were replaced by androids, and thus the heroic combat could continue without threat to Zoidarian life. Too late came the order. Too late to save a once mighty race from extinction, and now only I remain. Only I and the Zoids. And though my people created the Zoids, I have no power to control them. For the war machines have become the living embodiment of the Zoidarian thirst for combat, with lives and wills of their own. They exist only to fight, to ensure that their heroic combat lasts for all eternity. Now I stand on the sand-blasted surface of a world I used to call home, high on a rock, scanning the horizon for some sign of movement, knowing that out there, behind the sand clouds, lurk the deadliest war machines in the universe. Ah! It begins!
Machines of war, run by earth science on planet seashore. Successor to Garius, now he stands. Infantry, sword, Godos defend our lands. Standing tall at Godos bristles with guns, forging dinosaur form undersea shuns. Mighty and strong machine in metal hard. Godos blast empire Zoids without regard. Bristles with guns, forged dinosaur form undersea suns. Mighty and strong machine in metal hard. Godos blast empire Zoids without regard. Godos, cutting edge like a republic. Godos, low impact Zoids real quick. Godos, lost to every synonymous trick. Godos, dinosaur machine beats logic. In Tyrannosaurus form, Godos charge. Metallic dinosaur soldiers loom large. Helic Republic machine warriors go head to head with Empire warriors. The sons of both sides clash on planet Z. Godos, the infantry machines won't flee. Helic against the nemesis Zoid war. Godos laser guns will settle the score. Godos, stunning and joy of Republic. Godos, low impact Zoids real quick. Godos, lost to every synonymous trick. Godos, dinosaur machine. machine beats logic. Laser eyes light the night. Godos unmasked the Republic might. Stand proud, Godos defies and endless demands. Strike back the Empire, combat Zoids from our lands. Godos, cutting edge Zoid of Republic. Godos, lower your punch Zoids real quick. Godos, last through every synopsis trick. Godos, dinosaur machine beats logic. Godos, cutting edge Zoid of Republic. Godos, lower your punch Zoids real quick. Godos, last through every synopsis trick. Godos, dinosaur machine beats logic.
I speak another name of power.
Trooperzoid! Invincible soldier of the Zoid infantry, master of destruction, dealer of death.
Monster machines of Zoidstar, great and strong. Dinosaur forms of iron and steel Zoid throng. Heavily armed with lasers, crime to fighter. Trooperzoids of the blue Zoid war desire. Across the planet, Zoid battles their own. Zoid fights against Zoid without mercy shown. Heroic combats in burning steel blood. Trooperzoids blaze through sand, grit, dust, and mud. Trooperzoids, dealers of death in metal. Trooperzoids, heroic combat, they settle. Trooperzoids, monster machines, techno-force. Trooperzoids blaze through sand, grit, dust, and mud. But now come the Zoids down to invade. Led by Red Horde, Zoid conquest is their dread trade. Blue Zoids must unite to repel the Red Scourge. Trooperzoids join the Red Mutant Zoid Purge. Under mighty Zoidzilla, Blue Zoids stand to drive back the Red Zoids from Blue Zoid land. Trooperzoids battle mutants without fear. Make their evil techno race disappear. Trooperzoids, dealers of death in metal. Trooperzoids, heroic combat, they settle. Trooperzoids, monster machines, techno-force. Trooperzoids blaze through sand, grit, dust, and mud. Under mighty Zoidzilla, Blue Zoid stand to drive back the Red Zoids from Blue Zoid land. Trooperzoids battle mutants without fear. Make their evil techno race disappear. Trooperzoids, dealers of death in metal. Trooperzoids, heroic combat, they settle. Trooperzoids, monster machines, techno force. Trooperzoids blaze through sand, grid, dust and mud. Godos, blast through every synapse trick. Godos, dinosaur machine beast logic. Godos, cutting edge Zoid of Republic. Godos, blow away Empire Zoids real quick. Godos, blast through every synapse trick. Godos, dinosaur machine beast logic.
Metallic giants rise from lion grounds. Blue guardians down the heart. Lights and fury in the sky. Zoidstar leads the iron pride. Roar from the sound of roar. Force and steady battle roar. Blue guardians fight for peace. Red muses stir the beast.
It is the never-ending battle between red and blue Zoids. It has been waged for centuries. It rages still, with no end in sight.
The Namer, last of the Zoidarians, guardian of the names of power, keeper of the legend of heroic combat, have spoken.